There is a certain urgency that creeps into a program when opportunity and frustration begin to collide, when patience is no longer a luxury and decisiveness becomes a necessity. That is the space Notre Dame finds itself inhabiting now, navigating the unpredictable churn of the transfer portal under Marcus Freeman, a place where hesitation is punished and timing can mean the difference between salvaging momentum and watching it slip away entirely. The Fighting Irish know they will not win every battle in this modern marketplace, but they also understand that standing still is not an option. And so, as one portal door closes after another, Freeman and his staff have moved quickly toward a familiar name, one that once represented a dream deferred rather than denied. Milin Graham's story has always been intertwined with Notre Dame, even during the years he spent wearing scarlet and gray. A 4-star wide receiver, the number 9 player at his position in the 2023 class, and the top prospect in the state of Indiana, Graham was the kind of recruit Notre Dame circles early and never truly stops watching. When he committed to Ohio State over the Fighting Irish and the Indiana Hoosiers, it felt less like a rejection and more like a detour, a reminder of the gravitational pull exerted by the sport's most talent-rich programs. For Graham, the decision made sense. Ohio State had built a reputation as wide receiver university, a factory of NFL-ready pass catchers, a place where elite prospects sharpened themselves against other elite prospects every single day. For Notre Dame, it was a loss that lingered quietly. They believed in Graham then, they still do now. 2 years later, the landscape looks different. Graham arrives at the transfer portal with Ohio State experience on his resume, but without the starring role many once projected. He redshirted his true freshman season, biding his time behind an embarrassment of riches. In 2025, he saw limited snaps, not because of failure or regression, but because Ohio State's receiver room remained stacked with names that command attention: Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes. In that environment, opportunity can be scarce, and patience is tested daily. When Graham did see the field, the flashes were undeniable. 6 catches, nearly 100 yards, an average of 15.5 yards per reception. Small sample size, yes, but also a reminder of what evaluators saw when he was coming out of high school. Length, smooth acceleration, the ability to stretch the field without looking like he's trying to do it. Traits that don't vanish just because the depth chart is crowded. Notre Dame noticed. They always had. This time, the pursuit feels different, not just because circumstances have changed, but because Notre Dame itself has changed. Freeman's program is no longer selling only tradition and promise. It is selling proof. Proof in recruiting, proof in player development, proof in competitive relevance. Even as the transfer portal has tested the patience of the fan base and the staff alike, Notre Dame's broader trajectory remains unmistakably upward. Still, there is no denying the frustration of the moment. The portal has been unforgiving. 15 players out, 0 players in. 8 days left before the window closes. Each commitment announcement elsewhere feels heavier than the last, not because Notre Dame expected to land everyone, but because the need for tangible wins has grown louder. Depth matters, experience matters, and in a season that will demand both, the margin for error is thinner than ever. That is why the move toward Graham feels less like a gamble and more like a calculated recalibration. Notre Dame is not chasing a name for the sake of optics. They are chasing a player they evaluated deeply, recruited passionately, and never stopped believing could thrive in their system. The home state element adds another layer, one that cannot be manufactured. Graham grew up in Indiana. Notre Dame is woven into the football consciousness of the region. For some players, that connection fades once another logo enters the picture. For others, it lingers quietly, waiting for the right moment to resurface. This may be that moment. The irony of the transfer portal is that it often turns past heartbreak into present opportunity. Players who once said no now are able to say maybe, or even yes, without the baggage of recriminations or second-guessing. For Notre Dame, the pursuit of Graham is not about rewriting history. It's about finishing a conversation that never truly ended. Of course, the Irish will not be alone. Graham's profile ensures competition. Programs across the country understand the value of a former top 10 positional recruit who still has multiple years of eligibility and untapped upside. They will point to playing time, offensive schemes, NIL opportunities, and pathways to the NFL. Notre Dame will counter with its own pitch, one rooted in stability, development, and the chance to be more than just another name in the rotation. There is also context here that cannot be ignored. Notre Dame is coming off a 2026 recruiting cycle that reaffirmed Freeman's standing as one of the sport's most effective closers on the trail. The Irish landed the #2 class in the nation, headlined by elite talents like edge Rodney Dunham, cornerback Corey Adams, tight end Ian Premer, and safety Joey O'Brien. That class sent a message, not just to high school prospects, but to the broader college football world. Notre Dame is not retreating, it is building. That success doesn't erase the immediate challenges of the portal, but it does soften their edges. It provides context. It reminds everyone involved that roster construction is no longer a single-lane road. High school recruiting and the transfer portal are intertwined, each influencing the other in ways that demand adaptability and perspective. Freeman understands this better than most. His approach has never been rigid. It has been relational, deliberate, and increasingly assertive. The decision to move quickly on Graham reflects a staff that recognizes the importance of timing, of striking while both need and opportunity align. Waiting for a perfect scenario is no longer viable in a sport that reinvents itself every offseason. For Graham, the decision ahead is layered. It is about football, yes, but also about identity, fit, and belief. It is about finding a place where potential turns into production, where opportunity is earned but not endlessly deferred. Notre Dame offers that possibility, along with the familiarity of home and the chance to be part of a program that is clearly ascending. For Notre Dame, landing Graham would not magically erase the frustrations of this portal cycle, nor would missing on him signal failure, but it would represent something important: responsiveness. It would show that the Irish are willing to pivot, to revisit old evaluations with fresh eyes, to act decisively when the board changes. In the end, this is what the modern college football grind looks like. It is messy, it is emotional, it rarely unfolds according to plan. But within that chaos lies opportunity, especially for programs willing to move quickly, trust their evaluations, and embrace the full-circle moments the portal so often provides. Whether or not Milin Graham ultimately chooses Notre Dame, the pursuit itself tells a story. It speaks to a staff refusing to be paralyzed by recent setbacks, to a head coach who understands that momentum is not always linear, and to a program that still believes the right move made at the right time can change everything.